Good morning and welcome to the best sports betting preview show out there in the universe. Just kidding, but good morning. Cheers if you are sipping on that coffee, or if it's a little something stronger to kick off your Saturday tailgate as we await the kickoffs for a lot of these noon Eastern kicks. It's an exciting day of football. A lot of playoff implications, futures coming to shape, a lot of mismatches out there, but still, this is college football. Anything can happen any given Saturday. We do have a lot of games that we are going to be talking about. A lot of trendy dogs as well. So if you're out there looking to shoot some of these angles that you've heard about all week, we'll talk about that, and I'll kind of give you my thoughts on the other side. So let's get into it. If you haven't hit that like button or subscribe to the channel, right? Let's do that right now, please. These are completely free picks. All I ask in return is you show some love on the social media standpoint. I hate the social media thing. I'm not a freaking Instagrammer. I'm a better first, YouTuber second. But I do love talking some ball, and that's exactly what we're going to do here today as we get our Saturday going, okay? Also, I want to know what you guys are eating. Let me know your Saturday specials, right? What do you got on the smoker? Let's get these comments flowing as we get into the picks, and we are going to use Outlier to break this all down. If you haven't used it yet, haven't tried it, 7-day free trial, best tool in the industry in my personal opinion, okay? So let's get into it. The noon kickoffs, which historically, it's kind of funny. I absolutely slaughter the noon kicks, or it's just a very rare outlier is a great term for it, right? Noon kicks are just weird and shifty, in my opinion, right? Your numbers sometimes don't play out. Travel spots, 17 to 21-year-olds, stuff happens, right? But I do think that today we have some opportunities, okay? So let's talk about some of these games, and I will give you guys my best bets and recap them at the end of the video. This will be about 15 minutes, and I guarantee you this is probably going to be the best 15 minutes you can spend on your Saturday, because there's a lot of people out there talking that, quite frankly, you know, they don't really know what they're talking about. I'll just leave it at that. So Tulsa and Army, okay, that's going to be the first game we lead off with, and this is one where I do look for an official play, okay? This game, for playoff implications, doesn't really have a lick of anything going on. Tulsa 3-7 on the year, Army 5-4, okay? So not necessarily the season that Army and the Black Knights wanted to have in this 2025 campaign. The one thing I'll tell you guys, though, is a lot of these games for Tulsa, with the exception of a few going against some offenses that are just overpowering and the games get out of hand, these games got out of control quick, and this number has moved a lot. And I know I'm doing this on a Saturday, and that's kind of why I hate this whole YouTube thing, because I do it so that you guys are watching, but it's not always the best number available. So I'm trying to be as best as I can with transparency if I would still take it today. However, this is a game that I did take earlier on in the week. I still like it at 45.5. So for tracking purposes, we're going to roll with that. I do like the under 45.5. Tulsa Army, first game on the card. Let's get that one going. I think that they're going to play at a snail's pace. Army right now, this clock's just going to bleed dry, in my personal opinion. So unless we get some shootout and Tulsa decides, hey, we're just going to kind of change things up and just start chucking it, I don't see this game going over the total. I think Army's going to play stiff defense, commanding lead, not necessarily a blowout, but still playing out from in front. The clock will be bleeding, like I said, and a snail's pace on both sides of the ball for Tulsa. So I do like this one going under 45.5 as my first official best bet here on the channel, okay? Next game, Louisville and SMU, going to be an interesting one. The Cards, plus 3.5. No feel for this game, just being honest. Louisville is kind of on the outside looking in after suffering a defeat. And it was one thing where, you know, you beat Miami, all of a sudden you got a chance, and then now it's pretty much all but forgotten. 4-3 in ACC play, no shot. Staying away from this game. However, I do like Louisville. If you force me to bet this game, that won't be an official play, though. Missouri and Oklahoma. Okay, we possibly are talking about the #1 defense in all of the land within the Oklahoma Sooners. Okay, now Brent Venables and his staff and players coming in this game, 42.5 is that number. This is where I would lend towards the under as well. Missouri has a lot of discrepancies, I think, right now within their quarterback position. The QB room will be playing a backup. However, making the Missouri Tigers a little bit one-dimensional. I think that Oklahoma will excel in this spot. This is a strong lean towards the under. However, this number for all things considered, every time I get on an Oklahoma under, they decide just to kind of unleash a little bit. Most notably, that's going to be the game that we talk about where we did have the Texas A&M game, or I'm sorry, the Tennessee game, 33-27. Ole Miss was 34-26, so got into the 60s, and that's the one that really stung me. Okay, was the only over that hit when I was on an Oklahoma under, but this one going against Missouri and Mizzou. Okay, I think it'll be a little bit different. I think this one will be played into the 40s. 42.5 is just too low for me. So unless we get some kind of 20-17 grinded out kind of style of football, maybe even 20-6 in favor of the Sooners, I'm not going to get behind this. This is either going to be a dead under, and it's not even going to sniff 40 points, or it's going to be one of those ones that kind of beats the market, and it's going to excel way over the 42.5 that we do have. That's why I'm not going to play it. Too much variance, and yes, I do like Oklahoma's defense, but this is a game that I'm going to stay away from, okay? But I will say this, Oklahoma, very good teaser leg, okay? 5.5, kind of a fishy spot at home, okay, for that defense, and Mateer at QB healthy, playoff implications. They can't lose this game, okay? They can't lose this game. I think this is one that going against a backup quarterback, I'd expect this number a little bit more strong than 5.5. So very intriguing to see a low number here behind the Sooners, okay? Next game that we'll talk about, Miami and Virginia Tech. This is one, I think that if you guys do follow me on X, I've been kind of letting them have it, all right? All this, the Cane Nation, if you will, the U. We've been talking about some playoff deserving versus best team conversation. Okay, so that banter has been very healthy and fun. However, the Hurricanes coming in this game, 17.5-point favorites on the road, playing in Blacksburg, never a fun time. And this is probably going to be a little bit of an excerpt that you guys did not know, okay? You did not know this, and I did not know this, so I will kind of unveil this for you right now. But this is something where this is only the second game that Miami's had to leave the state of Florida, okay, to play. Kind of interesting to wrap your head around, okay? So the only second time leaving the state of Florida to play a football game in this season, okay? And I know that the James Franklin, injection right now into that Hokie program, it's going to be a lot of morale, a lot of momentum, but still, interim coach Mario Cristobal still has to win. I think that this is going to go one of two ways. Miami might lose this game outright. Virginia Tech covers a big number, 17.5, or we see an absolute pounding of the Hokies, and Miami really just tries to dot that I, or the two I's in Miami, I should say, when they try to establish their resume a little bit stronger to make the college football playoff. And that's why we're going to look at what I'm going to show you right now on your screen, and this will be the team total for the Hurricanes, okay? So if I was going to bet this game, this is where I would do it at. I would take Miami going over their team total, and the best number available right now is 33.5 minus 120. If you want plus money, plus 105 for the Hurricanes, and that is a number where in the last 10 games for the Canes, they've only eclipsed at 5 of their last 10 games. 3 of their last 4, though, so keep that in mind. So if you want plus money over 34.5, I don't mind it, and 33.5 minus 120. So that is where I stand from a team total perspective. So if you're going to make the case that Miami plays well here on the road, I would attack the team total versus the points, okay? That's just how I see it. If you get a 35 to 20 game, 35-17 gives you a cover, but there's a little bit too much, I think, in question for them to cover maybe a backdoor for Va Tech. So I would approach it from a Miami team total perspective, going over that team total. That would be how I would approach the best bet here between the Hurricanes and Virginia Tech. So that will be my second official play, going Miami over their team total, 33.5 at minus 120. Okay, going back into the card, let's talk about it. Rutgers, Ohio State, no play for me in this contest. If you wanted to play Rutgers team total going under, sure, why not? But still, the Buckeyes, all due respect, they are the number 1 team in the country. I'm a firm believer, if you're on top of the hill, you won it last year, you are the number 1 team in the country till somebody takes you off of that hill, okay? And I'm also in the camp where Ohio State has not given me a data point this season to suggest that they are the number 1 team in the country, okay? Everybody wants to make a big stink about Notre Dame. They don't have a quality win on their resume. I could make the argument that Pittsburgh might be a better win than any of the Ohio State wins that they've had this season. I know that would probably take a lot of people off in shock, but all things being considered, the week 1 game against Texas, if you rewatch that tape, wasn't impressed by either team, mind you. However, that game could have went either way with a couple 4th down decision-making plays by Sarkisian. Could be looking at a 9-1 Buckeyes team with Texas winning that game, okay? I know that's a woulda, coulda, shoulda, your uncle's your aunt kind of conversation, but I just look into the fact that Ohio State has not played anybody on their schedule. That's just where I'm at, okay? Penn State, RIP James Franklin. When we talk about kind of what we've had going on with Drew Allar, I'm just not there, okay? I'm just not there. Really looking forward to the Michigan game. And even with that being said, I don't think that's a true data point as well, because that is truly an outlier within that rivalry that it just does not reflect. I mean, look at Ohio State losing that Michigan game consecutively. How many times have they lost against Michigan in the last 5 years? And they've won the national championship or contended every single time, basically. So I'm not in that camp where Ohio State is not deserving of number 1 seed. Like I said, they're on top of the mountain, but this is something where I'm just not as a bettor, okay? And the same thing honestly goes for Indiana. I will go there with that one. The Oregon game is way, way far in advance better than anything on Ohio State's schedule, in my opinion, okay? That's just where I stack up, so I wanted to talk about that a little bit, and love for Ohio State, love for all the teams. I want to see every team do well. I just can't get there within the data points to suggest that this is a better Ohio State team than last year's squad in entering the playoff. I'm just not there yet, okay? So that's how I stack up. Northwestern and Minnesota. This is 3.5 there for the Wildcats. Another game being played at Wrigley Field. I do like Northwestern. I don't want to lay the 3.5 going against PJ Fleck and company. If this was -3 Northwestern, I would be all about the Wildcats, but I'm not going to lay 3 in the hook, so that will be a clear-cut pass. Next game that I'm going to have an official play in, so my 3rd official bet on the day, this will be Georgia, okay? And we are going to not fade the Bulldogs, but we're going to follow a betting trend that I do think that has some merit, all right? And this is going to be one that's going to be unpopular. I'm probably going to lose this bet, but I said I'm going to ride the wave and see what happens, okay? So this is risky. I'm not going to say this is my favorite bet of the day. I don't like betting trends. However, I do want to take this because if anything that we've learned from Ohio State, and I think these college football coaches maybe a little bit piggyback off of some strategy that they do have with this format, they don't want to run a lot of plays, risk more injury, especially when Georgia basically has their ticket all but punched for the CFP. This is where we look into the covering of big numbers for Kirby Smart, okay? And this is one that I've heard. It's on all of the Georgia websites. You go on Georgia's university football page. They're even talking about it, okay? Kirby Smart in his career, he's 0-13-1 when a spread is 38 points or more, okay? And that is something where against Marshall in week 1, I ended up being on the losing side of that bet because of a late backdoor cover as they won 45-7. But this is something where I see it very, very similar. And I was able to take 44.5 for Charlotte, all right? This is my ugly stinking up game of the week. We're going to take Charlotte in the 49ers plus 44.5 here in this spot. Looking for Kirby Smart. He doesn't care about the point spread. He doesn't need the style points. If he wins by 40, great. And they'll start to pull some starters. They're not going to risk injury. They're not going to try to get off of the steam that they have been rolling, arguably playing the best football in the country right now. But Georgia, I just don't know if they cover 45 points. So give me 44.5 in the Charlotte 49ers argument, and that will be one of my 3rd official best bet, okay? Washington and James Madison. The Dukes, 14.5. This was a 13.5 point number, and I was torn on this, okay? And I will tell you guys, I don't have an official play here, but this is considered the sharp play of the week. Fading James Madison. They have the potential for, I think, a first-round bye, if I'm not mistaken. But Washington State 5-5 going on the road. Looking at them, if this was 14.5, I almost lean towards Washington State. If this is 13.5, which it was earlier in the week, I probably would lean towards James Madison. This is a no play for me. I'm not going to chase 14.5 behind the Dukes. And this is, like I said, one of those plays that is a trendy dog where Washington State, everybody's taking Washington State. So this one, alongside of a couple other ones in the market, are just games that I'm going to stay away from. I don't like to play the trendy dog, and Washington State is considered the sharp play. However, I probably find myself making more of a conversation, an argument for James Madison to win this one by a significant margin. Okay, so this will be a pass for me as well. Baylor and Arizona. Okay, I've heard the conversation for both of these teams throughout the week. This will be in a teaser leg for me. The Wildcats, fresh off a serious, nice win against Cincinnati. 6.5 there. Baylor has basically let their wheels fall off, and now they travel on the road. And you can see kind of the handle being all about the Baylor Bears here, plus 6.5. The number has moved a little bit. Arizona was -6 earlier in the week. I do like the Wildcats here, okay? This one will be in a teaser for sure, taking them down to basically just a pick 'em. I like the Wildcats here. A -6 is what I took earlier in the week, but I still like it at 6.5. So I'm going to lay it here with the Wildcats. Arizona -6.5 as one of my best bets. Okay, and that will be my fourth official play for the day. Going down the board a little bit, there's a couple other games that I would mention. Sam Houston and Middle Tennessee State. Some value here. Both of these teams are not worth a lick of good, but you still get a very big number, 6.5 here on the road for the Bearcats. Intriguing game, but no play for me officially. And then we'll talk about the marquee game, probably the best day of the day, game of the day is USC going to Autzen to take on the Oregon Ducks. And this is where we're going to talk about the game being played in Eugene, where for all historians, this is a Pac-12 matchup, okay? But now it's funny seeing these teams play in the Big Ten, and I think that as we talk about it, this is something where I think if you guys followed me, I had Oregon as my #1 team from a power ranking standpoint, okay, before the season started, and I still kind of stand by that. Kind of sneaky, but Dante Moore and Dan Lanning's crew, top 5 in defensive and offensive efficiency. So, you know, relative to the competition played, they may be the best team in college football by the numbers, okay? Probably an unpopular take for most. They did have that bad loss against Indiana, but I think Indiana caught them at the right time. And I've been saying this, and I said it then, and I'll say it right now. If Indiana were to be playing Oregon in the Big Ten Championship, which I don't know if that's even a possibility, I don't think it is because of the head-to-head, and or if Oregon somehow found their way playing against the Hoosiers in the postseason, in Indiana, I don't care what the number is. I would make Oregon favorites in that game. So I do like the Ducks here. This is a big number that's climbed from 9.5 up to 10.5. I don't see a way that we don't get points. I gravitate towards the Oregon team total going over 33.5 is the best number available. And also I do like the Ducks -10.5. Lincoln Riley on the road, that's very much documented. And this is a huge game, not just for USC, but also for Notre Dame. They are the biggest USC fans right now in the market, because not only does that take USC with a chance to get in, it also makes Notre Dame's strength of record, and also it eliminates probably Oregon from the 12-team playoff. Okay, so that's kind of where we look at this. So I do like Oregon to cover 10 points. I don't like 10.5, so I won't be playing that. You can find a juiced up 10, but if you were going to bet this, I do like Oregon team total going over 33.5 if we wanted to force me to make a play here in this game. Okay. Going down the board a little bit more, there's a couple late games I do like. I'm not taking the Notre Dame-Syracuse game. However, I do like the Fighting Irish to kind of really exemplify their resume. I think they're going to get their team total going over. That's something that I do think that does have some merit. Also, as we look into some late games, Duke and NC, very intriguing spot, something where I could see North Carolina covering this one with Bill Belichick. Kind of my ugly game of the weekend as well, probably #2 on that list, but nice rivalry game in Chapel Hill. So I do think the Tar Heels make this one competitive. Don't like it at 6.5. I liked it at 7.5. This will be a game that we're going to stay away from the movement. Okay, and going down the board a little bit, a couple other games that I do think have some merit, and I have a very strong lean in one of them, and I do have an official play in another. Okay, I'm laying 17 points with Utah. Okay, 8-2 at home, probably one of the hardest places to play in the country. I'm taking the Utes minus 17, 4 o'clock Eastern. This is a game where I've always been on the bandwagon of Avery Johnson and company with Kansas State. But they've regressed a little bit. They rode the wave, and that steam has kind of went out of their sails. I like Utah here to cover a big number. Utah minus 17. That will be my final official best bet, okay? And next, Michigan and Maryland. This is one that we have to talk about because it is the game before the game, all right? Squaring off with Ohio State next week. The look-ahead spot for the Wolverines on the road, fresh off a scare at Northwestern last week. Now we have the Wolverines laying 2 touchdowns and a hook on the road, playing a Maryland team, and both of these squads play at a snail's pace. I have a very strong lean towards Maryland. However, I think the best bet you can make here in this spot, under 47, Michigan and Maryland. I think there's going to be a lot of players resting for that Ohio State game on the Michigan side of the ball, and I do think that Maryland will try to make this competitive, right? They're going to play a slow, grinded-out style of football as they look to go 5-6. Not saying Maryland's live here, but if Michigan plays with the players that they are going to be sitting, anything like they did against Northwestern, and you couple that with the look-ahead spot for Ohio State, not saying that they're live, but they are live to cover that 14.5. But I do think there's a very strong play to make under 47, Maryland and Michigan, okay? And that's pretty much it. Georgia Tech Pitt, that is the ACC marquee game, the primetime game, 7 o'clock kickoff. Georgia Tech in the Yellow Jackets. I think 2.5 is a good number. There's a lot of love for Pitt, though, plus 2.5. I'm going to pass on this game. No play for me. It's just too much variables, and I don't really know how Pitt's going to respond after getting bludgeoned last week against Notre Dame. And then that being said, that's pretty much it. That'll wrap up my card. I don't have anything in the later slate, so I will recap those plays for you guys right now. I know this was a little bit longer of a video, but we have a lot to talk about, so I will give you guys my best bets. If you haven't hit that like button or subscribe yet to the channel, please do so now. We're going to go Arizona minus 6 was my number that I did take for the Wildcats. We also are going to take Miami team total over 33.5. And then if you do like the plus money, you could take that up to 34.5. I don't mind that. And also, we talked Tulsa Army going under 45.5, and then Utah minus 17. Okay, one last thing I do want to kind of get into, and this is one of those trendy spots. It's not going to show up on Outlier because it's a smaller game, and you're not going to find the number everywhere being offered. But we got to talk about Mercer and Auburn. Auburn's resting their quarterback to preserve his red shirt ahead of the Iron Bowl against Alabama, where he will make his start to kind of preserve that eligibility, I believe. But I do think that this is something where Mercer, in-state, almost 4 touchdown dogs, and there's a lot of people that are on the Mercer plus 27.5, plus 28. So very intriguing. Doesn't mean much for Auburn to win with margin. All they care about is the Iron Bowl. So another one to have on your radar. I don't have a play in that, but I wanted to kind of make a mention of it. So that's about it. That's about everything that I could cover here for the week ahead, the week 13 action in college football. It's going to be very interesting to see how Ole Miss kind of handles their business, okay, against Mississippi State very soon, as we do have the Lane Kiffin news, his departure, maybe LSU, maybe Florida, maybe staying at Mississippi. We'll see what happens with that. I am going to explore the Mississippi to not make the playoffs a little bit from a future standpoint, but those are my best bets. I did recap them for you guys. Good luck out there. Let's cash some tickets, and we'll see you all in the next video. Cheers.